Order number 8, motion, report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the fourth basis for allocating the share of national revenue among counties, resumption of debate on the proposed amendments.
Now, honorable senators, when debate was interrupted on Thursday, the 5th of June, 2025, Senator Mungatana had the floor and he had a balance of 8 minutes. I'm not seeing Senator Mungatana in the House, and therefore the floor is open for debate. Now, honorable senators, the debate is on the amendments as proposed by Senator Mogeni, not on the entire formula. It is on the amendments as proposed. Senator for Kakamega, if you want to hug, you have the lounge. So, honorable senators, the debate that is supposed to continue is the debate on the proposed amendments by Senator Mogeni. Senator Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to speak to the amendment by Senator Okongo Omugeni. Mr. Speaker, I think in the principle of at the division, Mr. Speaker, I think last week we did mention on a number of, this is a 4-year or 5-year, Mr. Speaker, and therefore this division of revenue and amendment is very critical. Mr. Speaker, for Isiolo, let me begin by saying the following. Mr. Speaker, this is a house of equity. That is why the vote of Nairobi and the vote of Nandi and the vote of Kakamega and the vote of Elgeyo Marakwet, Mr. Speaker, is subjected to principle of equity, Mr. Speaker. This amendment that has been brought by Senator Okongo Omugeni, and I wish he would be listening, Mr. Speaker, this amendment that has been brought by Senator Okongo Omugeni on 4.46 billion to be shared to 11 counties, Mr. Speaker, Isiolo, Lamu, Elgeyo Marakwet County, among others, is in the principle of equity that we want to see, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish Senator Okongo Omugeni would be listening, including Embu, Mr. Speaker. I wish the mover of the amendment should be listening. Mr. Speaker, that is why I wanted to insist that this is a principle of equity. Mr. Speaker, when we were coming up with a formula, including Taita Taveta, when we were coming up with the formula, Mr. Speaker, we must ensure each and every county, 1, doesn't lose, 2, no county gains more. Mr. Speaker, I have seen a county in this simulated that some counties were gaining 2 billion. Others were gaining only 200 million. 200 million to any county like Elgeyo Marakwet or Taita Taveta or Embu or Isiolo, Mr. Speaker, is not in good faith. Yes. And therefore this simulation, where at least each and every county will gain 405.6 million, will be very significant, Mr. Speaker. That is why most of these counties cannot even take or do a significant or an important development in their counties, Mr. Speaker. So even, Mr. Speaker, as we look at this simulation, we must be aware, Mr. Speaker. The other day, and I've seen the budget is being read on Thursday, budget that is worth 4 trillion, Mr. Speaker. But it is very sad that members of National Assembly rejected an increment of counties of 465 billion Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker. That is an affront to the principle of equity and division of revenue, Mr. Speaker. I stand today on the basis of win-win for Lamu County. I stand today for the win-win for Taita Taveta County, Mr. Speaker. I stand today for support of Kirinyaga, Embu, Nyamira, Isiolo, Elgeyo, Marakwet, Mr. Speaker, because they deserve equity like all of us. If Elgeyo Marakwet wins, Nandi wins. If Isiolo wins, Mandera wins, Mr. Speaker. If Nyamira wins, Nakuru wins. We must push the principle of equity. It cannot be that a county is getting 2 billion, but a small county like Nyamira is getting a paltry millions of shillings, Mr. Speaker. I rise on the pedestal of history, on the principle of equity, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, they say, when the conscience of a nation has disturbed a solitary mind, it doesn't mean that that man is mad, Mr. Speaker. We must push for a win-win, Mr. Speaker. So that as we push, we cannot blame Elgeyo Marakwet, Taita, Nyamira, Isiolo, Embu, Mr. Speaker, for underdevelopment. Yet when we are doing division of resources, we don't consider their uniqueness, including Lamu, Mr. Speaker. So I support this amendment by my senior. Na leo ndio narudisha mkono. After defending me, Mr. Speaker, when I was in police custody, he was able to dismantle my charges within seconds, Mr. Speaker. 1:59, 1 minute and 59 seconds, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the people of Lamu. Well, that is why, Mr. Speaker, as a Senate, we should not reduce ourselves to our own counties. That is why we say, Mr. Speaker, we are senators of the Republic of Kenya, elected by respective counties to represent the interests of all counties, Mr. Speaker. When I speak here, I speak on behalf of Nandi, on behalf of Nakuru, on behalf of Nyamira, on behalf of Kirinyaga, Wajir, Nyandarua, Laikipia, Migori, Taita Taveta, Kajiado, Elgeyo Marakwet County, Mr. Speaker, including Uasin Gishu. And Embu, Mr. Speaker, where the deputy party of DP comes from, Mr. Speaker. If there is a time I'm proud of my senior colleague in the profession, Senator Okongo Omugeni, Commissioner, is today, because he's pushing us to look for principle of equity. It cannot be, and I want to challenge members of National Assembly. When we demand for more resources, they only tell us there is corruption in counties. What are they doing for corruption in national government themselves? What are they doing? Mr. Speaker, it is shame for them to tell us that they cannot add money to our people who are suffering, Mr. In fact, we are going to scrap NTCDF because that is an unconstitutional kitty, Mr. Speaker. It violates the Constitution, and I want to stand with the decision of the Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker, that we should only channel funds to only 2 entities, national executive and counties. If members of National Assembly want to run resource and manage money, let them run for 2 positions, governor or the presidency. When you are here, Mr. Speaker, Article 94 and 96 is we legislate, represent, oversight, do budget making process, Mr. Speaker. It cannot be the biggest threat to devolution today, Mr. Speaker, in this country is members of National Assembly. How can they appropriate and pass a budget of 4 trillion and give counties paltry 400 billion, Mr. Speaker? It is shame. And I want to tell Kenyans who are watching us, the reason there is underdevelopment in Mashinani is because of members of National Assembly, Mr. Speaker. They are in fact of 4 trillion. We should be pushing that 1 trillion or 50% or 4 trillion of the budget should go to mashinani. That is counties, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today, the people of Nyamira, today, the people of Elgeyo Marakwet, today, the people of Kajiado, the people of Taita Taveta, the people of Isiolo, the people of Lamu, the people of Embu, we must come up, the people of Kitui, Mr. Speaker. We must come up with a formula of win-win. Kenyans for Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. This is the only house, Mr. Speaker, that will change the trajectory of development in this country, Mr. Speaker. We want to develop so much resources that somebody in Kericho, in Kapchebet, where Senator Aaron Cheruiyot comes from, does not care who is the president, Mr. Speaker. Somebody from Kilifi, where our esteemed, respected Speaker, Governor Senator Amason Jeffa Kingi, will not care who is the president because there are enough resources in Kilifi County, Mr. Speaker. I pray for that country, Mr. Speaker, where we will not charge or care who you are, but we will share resources based on principle of equity. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, as Martin Luther Jr. King said, an injustice somewhere is an injustice everywhere. I will not be happy if I'm given so much to take to Nandi while Nyamira is losing. I will not be happy when Mandera is given so much when Lamu is losing. Mr. Speaker, we are all Kenyans, including Embu, Mr. Speaker, where the deputy party leader comes from, Mr. Speaker. Dr. Mundigi.
Senator Cherargei, I don't want to disturb your flow of thoughts, but I hope I don't look like a man. Why are you addressing me as Mr. Speaker? You will clarify as we move along. Can you appropriately address
Mr. Speaker, the spirit of equity has overtaken my faculties, but I profusely withdraw and apologize, Madam Speaker. It is that my mind caught up when you are doing an exchange with the substantive Speaker. My apologies. We respect you, Madam Speaker. And we know Muranga will stand on the issue of equity. I hope the delegation of Muranga, if they mean what they say on top of cars, wherever they work around the country, they must force for this principle of equity, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I want to challenge this country. The future of Kenya, Madam Speaker, is only on equity. I'm calling upon the Chair of Finance and Budget, my very good friend, which I have tremendous respect, a principal of Kenya Kwanza, a party leader, the Chair of Finance and Budget. Let us amend this formula. The pride of your committee, Mr. Chairman, sir, through Madam Speaker, is to ensure no county goes home crying. Let us take care of these counties. Madam Speaker, I've sat in public accounts for almost now 8 years. We have seen the financial statements. They cannot do anything. We went to Nyamira when the late, my brother, the late, his soul rest His Excellency Nyagarama, he was a good man. I don't know about the current one. Okay. That is, the senior council will tell us. And we visited, and they were only begging for it, was it 100 million to complete? Can you believe? While we are giving counties, even, Madam Speaker, we need also to look at the own source revenue. A county like Nairobi, the CRA revenue potential of county of Nairobi is 63 billion. We are giving it close to 20 billion. They have a pending bill around 120 billion, Madam Speaker. We must also, the mover of this amendment, Senator Okongo Mugeni, we must also ensure, and I want to appeal to the Finance and Budget Committee, you cannot compare revenue potential of Nairobi City County and Nyamira, despite that they are growing tea. But I'm saying, even as we talk, Nyamira grows tea and Nandi. Are you aware our tea prices cumulatively per kilo has even fallen down? Now it is 19 shillings per kilo of tea. 9 shillings is being taken by Muchunaji Chai. 10 shillings remain with the farmer. Madam Speaker, so even if you discuss the own source revenue of Nyamira, it will fall down because of market of demand and supplies. Even here in Nairobi, they can collect, I saw them celebrating that they have collected 12 billion, yet their revenue potential is 63 billion. What are they telling us? And they are doing a program that dish in a county. And that program is not extending to all children. Yet we are giving them the highest allocation. Look at Turkana, Mr. Speaker. We are giving Turkana the highest amount. But the information I have is the governor of Turkana, whenever he goes to a function, he dishes out 1,000 handouts. Yet the people of Turkana, you know, the senator of Turkana brought a statement where it is only in Turkana you get a Form 4 liver dispensing out medicine, Madam Speaker. That one does not happen even in Katanga, in Muranga County, where you come from. Yet the highest amount is we give. Let us not be selfish, Madam Speaker. This country belongs to all of us. If we want to end corruption, iniquity in this country, Madam Speaker, we must be willing to accommodate each other. The future of this nation is a united nation, Mr. Speaker, not based on tribes or families. Whether you want to call yourselves cousins or wherever, Madam Speaker, is we must look at the bigger picture. At the end of today, when you go back to Taita Taveta, Senator Eddie, I want to challenge you, although you are mourning, and we continue to empathize with your people, that as you go back to Migori, you should report back and say, when I was in Senate, when Lamu, when Nyamira, when Taita Taveta, when Wajia, when Embu, when Elgeyo Marakwet, when Isiolo, where our sister serves with distinction, and I want to call out my friend, the governor, in future, not to make derogatory remarks against women leadership. I would have expected even women from this house to protest. She did. Yeah, in fact, Senator Dulo should be listening to this. I think she is busy because of issues of insecurity, Madam Speaker. We cannot allow governors to make derogatory remarks against esteemed ranking member of the Senate, and we demand apology. And you know, Senator, the governor of Isiolo, Madam Speaker, is a good friend of mine. I have also expressed his displeasure. And he confirmed to me that he has withdrawn, but I want a formal apology. He has not withdrawn.
Senator Cherargei, would you wish to be informed by Senator Omugeni?
Yeah, today I am free to be informed by Senator because he's doing a good job.
Okay. Senator Omugeni, you can proceed.
I wanted to inform Senator Fernandi, who is doing very well this afternoon, that he should inform the governor of Isiolo that through this formula, the good lady, our ranking senator, is actually going toward Isiolo another 400 million through the effort of Senator Dulo. So what the governor should be doing is actually to appreciate and acknowledge the good work of Senator Fatuma Dulo, not to all abuses at our senator here, chair of security.
Thank you, Senator Omugeni. Senator Cherargei, you can proceed. Give him the mic.
Madam Speaker, it is the most proud moment because even the Speaker of the session, where the Senator of Isiolo is adding 400 million plus, we are proud of women leadership in this country, Madam Speaker, including you. And I want to request and demand as Governor of Isiolo to withdraw and instead appreciate the distinguished senator who is a ranking member, a 3-term senator. Do you think to be re-elected in this country is easy, Madam Speaker? You are our SG in UDA. You see people crying. People taking diabetic and pressure pills to calm down. But this is a distinguished senator who is serving a 3rd term. We must respect women leadership in this country, Madam Speaker. And I hope by the close of this business, after the distinguished work of the Senator Dulo, Madam Speaker, the governor must apologize and appreciate that we are adding over 405.6 million to Isiolo, among other counties, and we are giving 4.46 billion to 11 counties, Madam Speaker. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the future of this country is in devolution. This amendment will bring justice. Madam Speaker, I want to request members of the Senate, especially head of delegations, including my brother, the minority leader. including Kamau Murango, the distinguished senator of Kirinyaga, who is the next governor of Kirinyaga. Including the governor, incoming governor of Kitui, Governor Bishop Enoch Wambua. Madam Speaker, the formula we passed today, including Senator Chute, who I see is restless today, including Senator Kisang, the formula we will pass will run for 5 years. We must think through it. We must think through it. Let us not rush. In the last session, Madam Speaker, we stayed almost 6 months to agree to pass a win-win. At that time, there were senators for Kenya, Senator Matzayo and Senator Wambua were Kenyans, me and Senator Nderito, and I am told the financier and the engine of that moment was Governor Mandera, the distinguished senator. Captain Ali Roba was the leading one, the onslaught. Me and Senator Kinywa, Madam Speaker, were 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. But today we are saying let the entire country win. Let us win as a country. Let us win as a country.
Senator Cherarigei, hold on a minute. There is a point of order by Senator Ali Roba. What's your point of order, Senator
Madam
Ali
Speaker,
Roba?
Madam Speaker, the Honorable Senator Cherarigei has referred to me as financial. That time, I would like him to substantiate as to the truthfulness of the statement he has made in terms of that, because it might send a bad signal out there. I wasn't in this chamber last Senate, Madam Speaker.
Senator Cherarigei, you have alluded to an allegation that he was a financier. We do not know what he was financing. Please clarify.
Madam Speaker.
Proceed. You can substantiate.
Madam Speaker, I didn't say he was the one financing the formula. He was not the one financing. I was saying he was the beneficiary of a win-win that we did that time, because Mandela was losing.
So it was just a question of grammar.
I think grammatical errors. Okay. I meant the beneficiary, not the financier.
So let's proceed.
Madam
Speaker, admitted that.
Madam Speaker, as I conclude so that I can sit ground, I support this amendment with all my body organs. Madam Speaker, I am very sure as a leader, I want to see equitable development across the country. Some of us in future will aspire for higher seats in this country. I want one day when I'm in Nyamira, Senator Okongo Omugeni will tell me, because of the decision that you voted, this is what we have done. When I'll visit Kirinyaga, I don't know whether they will accept me, because I don't know whether I'm their cousin or not. They will appreciate and tell me, you are our cousin. This is the money you voted for. This is what we have done. I want, when I visit my neighbors, Elgeyo Marakwet, Senator Kisang, Senator Taita, my Vice Chair of County Public Accounts, Senator Mwaruma Mwalimu, will tell me, now I'm the governor of Taita Taveta, and this is what we have done. I want, when I visit Wajir, I visit Senator Dulo. Madam Speaker, I support this amendment with all my faculties, and I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Senator. Before we proceed to the next senator to debate this motion, I want to give communication from the chair on visiting teachers and students from Seven Forks School in Embu County. Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and students from Seven Forks Schools in Embu County. The delegation comprises 177 students and 9 teachers who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposition. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I thank you. Senator Mudigi from the great county of Embu.
Asante Bi Speaker kwa kunipa nafasi niweze kukaribisha shule ya Seven Forks Primary School katika Mbeere South, Embu County na pia katika county 47 wakati wile county inajulikana sana. Yangu ni machache ni kuambia watoto wa Seven Forks karibuni sana muweze kuangalia yale tunatenda hapa. Wakati mmekaa dakika nyingi muweze kuona yale mambo tunatenda hapa, mambo ya kuangalia mambo ya vile mambo ya security na vile tunaongea ndio county zetu iweze kupata pesa. Bi Speaker, yangu ni kuambia watoto na kusema Senate ile pesa tunasema hapa ukienda kama Seven Forks ile shule imejengwa na Kengen na unakuta pia iko na bahati, lakini sile siko area hiyo iko na shinda, na ndio mara mingi Bi Speaker tumekuwa tukisema walimu wale wanaweza kusomeza ile area kwa sababu ni area haina maji, haina hospitali, haina chochote. Tumekuwa tukisema mambo ya handship isiweze kuondolewa, na pia pesa kama sile tunasema kama ile mbili ya homogeny senator ambaye tunasema county zote siweze kuongezewa pesa, ndio county ya Embu iweze kupata pesa kama sile, ndio kama kule kama ni parapara, kama ni hospitali, kama ni mambo mengi ya agriculture iweze kuendelea vizuri. Kwa hivyo naweza kusema watoto wa Seven Forks hapa mkiweza kukaa vizuri na musikise mambo ya walimu, muweze kujiepusha na mambo ya dawa ya kulevya, mambo ya pombe. Wakati mwingine miaka itakayokuja ninyi mtakuwa maseneta, ninyi mtakuwa speaker, ninyi mtakuwa wenye wabunge na mtakuwa kila kitu. Kwa hiyo Bi Speaker na wakaribisha na ni asante, mkirudi nyumbani Embu County muende na salamu na pia mbarikiwe, muende safari njema. Asante Bi Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Mudigi. Senator Okech Edigi Shero, Migori County.
Madam Speaker, I know today has been a very emotional day because as a young person, it is very hurtful to see a fellow young man succumb to not disease nor any condition of physical harm, but dying in the hands of the police. And Madam Speaker, before I just contribute here, I wanted to thank Mr. Speaker so much for the kindness he had extended and the urgency he has put on the matter of the death of Albert Ojwang by making sure that the CS as well as the officers who are charged with our security can be in this house tomorrow. And I wanted to urge all my colleagues senators that this is the time that the nation needs you most. This is the time that tomorrow we should not have a quorum hitch or even delay of debate and engagement, that the House tomorrow, all senators should come on time so that you can be able to interrogate the matter of Albert Ojwang at 9 a.m. We'll be here so that by 9:30 when the House rises, then we can be able to deal with that issue. And I want to thank all the senators for taking this issue seriously and the comments that you have made, and as well as I do extend my heartfelt condolences and my sympathies to the family of Albert Ojwang. I know I'll try and control my emotions so that I can be able to contribute on this equally important matter, the matter of the formula for which we push forward to be able to share resources among counties. Madam Speaker, I am a member of Finance and Budget Committee, and I was part of the team, therefore, that tried to think about what would be the best fourth basis formula for us to be able to share the resources that we have for counties horizontally. And Madam Speaker, while there were a number of suggestions by the CRA on the matter of sharing revenue, we felt very strongly that it's important that we have one parameter. And that parameter, Madam Speaker, is that there is no county that should lose in this avenue of sharing resources after what we have gotten from the national coffers, Madam Speaker. And therefore, Madam Speaker, when we created the formula, everything we considered was to make sure that that principle abides. And therefore, Madam Speaker, we suggested that we come up with a baseline that will always ensure that when resources are shared in this country, or when the basis for sharing resources is considered, then no county ever loses what they have gotten. And there is a reason behind this, Madam Speaker. The reason is very simple. Counties get to commit to different projects, get to commit to different non-discretionary and discretionary budgetary requirements. Therefore, if you put any formula that makes any county lose a shilling, you inconvenience that county. Additionally, Madam Speaker, the issue of inflation will always catch up with counties, Madam Speaker. For instance, if you think about the wage drift, there is a big consideration that adjusts itself by 5% in our payroll systems every year automatically. If you deny a county a shilling from what they got in the previous allocation, then you end up being injurious to their planning purposes. And therefore, Madam Speaker, the idea of the baseline of 387 is in and itself a very important one. And Madam Speaker, I therefore will dissuade any amendment that augments that baseline, that brings it to zero or any other thing. But now, Madam Speaker, when we came to this House, the issue was raised about the smaller counties who are going to gain from the previous CRA formula. And Madam Speaker, the rationale behind these small counties not getting what I would call adequate resources to make them run is because, Madam Speaker, these 11 counties in particular have faced a serious challenge of viability. Madam Speaker, if you look at the spirit of the Constitution, when the counties were being created under Article 6 of the Constitution and subsequent articles that divide resources in our country, Madam Speaker, the principle of the Constitution is that the counties must be viable. What are the viability options for the counties, Madam Speaker? The viability of counties, Madam Speaker, number one, is that they be able to run a government. Counties are government. And those governments must be run on the basis of non-discretionary expenses. Those non-discretionary expenses, Madam Speaker, must go and be able to run staff, must go and be able to run recurrent expenditure. And then, Madam Speaker, the viability of counties does not stop at running non-discretionary expenses. A county is only viable, Madam Speaker, if after employing people, the county can, one, provide services to its constituents, and two, can be able to have some sort of development to its constituents, Madam Speaker. What we have seen in the county of Isiolo, what we have seen in the county of Vihiga, what we have seen in the county of Samburu, what we have seen in the county of Tharaka-Nithi, what we have seen in the county of Laikipia, what we have seen in the county of Nyamira, what we have seen in the county of Taita Taveta, what we have seen in the county of Lamu, what we have seen in the county of Elgeyo Marakwet, what we have seen in the county of Kirinyaga, and lastly, what we have seen in the county of Embu, is that they can only run their non-discretionary expenses, recurrent expenses. So they are sent money to these counties, and the money, in whichever formula it is shared, is so small that they can only be able to finance salaries, Madam Speaker, and run vehicles, and run utility bills. Madam Speaker, that is not the viability of counties as was intended by the Constitution. Because then the people in those counties, Madam Speaker, end up never seeing any development. So, by virtue of not giving them enough and adequate resources to be able to run services and to be able to run development budgets, Madam Speaker, we end up only giving money to individuals in those counties who, if they misappropriate the non-discretionary expenses, Madam Speaker, then we are only really creating 11 billionaires every 5 years in those counties in the form of governors. So this is a rote in the, the redistricting, or rather the formula that was used to draw the counties, Madam Speaker, by using the 1992 districts, and that road cannot be corrected by simple element of delineation. It can be corrected by finding a formula that can be able to enable those counties get monies to run budgets for development and run budgets for services. And therefore, that is why when we got here as a finance and budget committee and listened to senators, the senators did propose that in lieu of that problem, let us seclude about 2 billion to make sure that we give these counties, and if possible, pass a law to ring-fence that money to go to development of those counties. Now, Madam Speaker, the reason for this amendment by Senator Mogeni from Nyamira is that that which is being ring-fenced of 2 billion, which every county will get an average of about 181 million, is not adequate enough to cushion development. It's not adequate enough to cushion service delivery. Now, we understand that. However, the proposal of 4.46 billion, Madam Speaker, I think might be edging it too far. Reason being, there is no scientific formula that guarantees all the county governments which part of the money they receive they put for development. So while I agree with the principle that we need to add just a little bit more money above the 2 billion, I think that 4.42 might be prohibitive to a conversation with other delegations from other counties. So for us to be magnanimous with these counties, I want a way forward. And I want to plead with the senators. First of all, the 11 senators who have brought this amendment through Senator Mogeni, and then the other colleagues from other bigger counties. Why can't we make it 3 billion? I think 3 billion can be a compromise that allows for proper ring fencing, money for development for these counties, but also that is not prohibitive enough to make us not pass this for this formula this week. Because, Madam Speaker, there is urgency in passing this formula this week. And I'll tell you why. While we are fighting for 387 billion, there's a bigger conversation about costing of county functions, Madam Speaker. And we have never sat as a Senate so that we use the instrument of costing county functions as a conversation between us and the national government. So we need to pass this formula by urgency this week, and then we retreat, prepare, come back to fight with the national government on how much must counties get. The issue of DORA is the next conversation that we must now invite all of us. And when we're going to that table of fighting for that money, Madam Speaker, we must go all of us. We must not have some senators from the 11 counties crying this other side, while the senators from the 36 counties also crying on this other side. We must move together. So I think that togetherness, let us all agree that, yes, the 2 billion is small, but 4.46 might also be on the higher side. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I want to plead with my colleagues. Let us make it 3 billion. And let us not debate it further. Let us sit down, get the 3 billion to these smaller counties, give them the power to be able to run development, reinvest that money for development, and then now we start talking about the 465 billion. That's the bigger cake. Even if we give these counties 3 billion, Madam Speaker, it will barely be enough for development in Lamu. I have passed through the places like Nyamira, Madam Speaker, when I went to visit my brother, Senator Mogeni. Things like water are still a dream to people in those areas. If you're not close to any stream of water, Madam Speaker, then women still wake up very early in the morning in Nyamira. Wake up very early in the morning in Vihiga. I visited Senator Sotsi, Madam Speaker. Wake very early in the morning in the counties of Samburu, Madam Speaker, to go and fetch water. This money won't be enough for them. Even if you were to give them 4.46 billion, Madam Speaker, That won't be enough to solve the problems in Nyamira. It won't be enough to solve the problem in Elgeyo Marakwet. It won't be enough to solve the problems in Embu, Madam Speaker. We were sent here to fight for counties to get resources adequate enough to make the devolved functions work. They cannot work at 405 billion, Madam Speaker. They can only work if we fight to make sure that counties get 465 billion, Madam Speaker. It can't be that yesterday I saw the Minister for Finance, the CS for Finance, talking very proudly about allocation of billions of money to the national government to deal with healthcare, to deal with primary healthcare, to deal with issues of water, and giving the ministry over 100 billion. Yet these counties are left here, Madam Speaker, to fight over 47 billion to deal with a devolved health function. This we cannot accept, Madam Speaker. It cannot be that the Ministry of Water, Madam Speaker, is given more money than counties combined, when the entire provision of water, if you look at what we call WSPs, water service providers, Madam Speaker, they are rolling in loans, Madam Speaker, without any effort by the national government to save them. Assets have not been transferred to these water service providers, Madam Speaker. They don't even have proper asset register because, Madam Speaker, the national government has not agreed, has not accepted to transfer those assets to them, Madam Speaker. The moment we allow that every year we are going to be given a budget in this house that keeps on funding devolved functions and funding them to the ministerial department and agencies, Madam Speaker, we are doing a disservice to all these devolved functions, Madam Speaker. If the National Assembly, if the National Treasury want to have a conversation with the Senate that is genuine about making sure that there is service to the people, that conversation must stop at what is the real cost of running functions in this county, Madam Speaker. What is the cost of running policy functions when it comes to health care, and cost of running referral hospitals when it comes to health care, which are the only two functions given to national government, vis-a-vis running public health issues, running our hospitals, running primary health care, Madam Speaker, running SHA. All these things must go to counties. So I want to urge you, Madam Speaker, as I support this amendment, let us quickly move to agree on a position which I have proposed to be 3 billion. Let us support our brothers from smaller counties and then go and fight for more resources. And those resources, Madam Speaker, we must fight for them starting next week. Therefore, let's pass this formula this week and let's face the national government on the issue of 465 billion that must go to counties, Madam Speaker. And when we finish that fight, Madam Speaker, the next fight is going to be fighting with governors on accountability and corruption. We can't fight for 465 billion to go to counties and then governors go and waste it by having fleet of vehicles around, by building themselves into billionaires, so that every single 5 years we are creating 47 billionaires in these counties in the name of governors. It must stop. So yes, we are going to fight for our people to get money, 465 billion, but when we finish, we are coming for governors. They must stop the scourge of corruption in the money we are sending to our people in the grassroots. And that fight will come next week. And therefore I support Senator Mogeni with that adjustment, that if it so suits the 11 senators, let us stop it at 3 billion, let us move forward together, and let's start the fight for DORA next week. With that, Madam Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, and I support.
Senator Kinyua.
Asante Bi Speaker kwa kunipa fursa hii. Kuanzia mwanzo, Bi Speaker, nataka kuunga mkono mswada wa marekebisho ambao umeletwa na Senator Okongo Omugeni. Bi Speaker, ni wazi na ni dhahiri shahiri ya kwamba fedha zinapaswa kufuata majukumu. Majukumu mengi yamepelekwa katika gatuzi zetu, Bwana Speaker. Lakini Bwana Speaker, gatuzi yoyote ambayo inapata chini ya shilingi Bi Speaker, gatuzi yoyote ambayo inapata chini ya shilingi bilioni 6 inakuwa ni vigumu sana, Bi Speaker, kufanya jambo lolote. Si kutengeneza barabara, si kuweka dawa katika hospitali ama kutengeneza shule za chekechea. Lakini Bispika, mswada huu ambao umeletwa, marekebisho ya mswada huu ambao umeletwa na Okongo Omugeni, kwanza kabisa nataka kushukuru mwenyekiti wa kamati ya fedha ambaye ni Senator Roba kwa nia njema waliokuwa nayo walipokuwa wakishabikia mswada huu na kusema ya kwamba kaunti zitaongezwa, kaunti zilizo ndogo na ambao ushuru wake ni mdogo zinapaswa kupata kuongezewa bilioni 2. Bispika, mswada ambao umeletwa siku ya leo unasema ya kwamba tuongezewe kaunti ambazo ni ndogo, hizi 11 ziongezewe bilioni 4. Bispika, tukifanya kazi tukiwa wote kama vile tulivyofanya wakati wa seneti iliyopita, tuliweza kuongeza takriban bilioni 50 kwa mpigo, Bispika. Kwa hivyo hata wakati huu sina shaka pangu rohoni, tukifanya kazi tukiwa pamoja tunaweza tukaongeza hela hizi ambazo zinakuja katika gatuzi zetu. Bispika, sisi kama seneti tulisema tungetaka bilioni 465, lakini bunge la kitaifa, bwana Spika, kwa ujuzi wake ama kwa ukosefu wa ujuzi, wakasema ya kwamba pesa ambazo tunapaswa kupata ni bilioni 405. Bispika, hawaelewi majukumu ambazo ziko katika gatuzi zetu. Bispika, mambo ya barabara. Bispika, kaunti nyingi unapata mambo ya maji zimepelekwa katika gatuzi zetu, afya imepelekwa katika gatuzi zetu. Mimi nilidhania wanapaswa kukubaliana na sisi kwa sababu sisi ndio tunajua mambo ya gatuzi zaidi. Lakini Bispika, hata nikiendelea kuongea hivi, nataka kukubaliana na hizi hela ambazo zimependekezwa na mswada huu wa Okongo Omugeni, fedha za kudhibitisha kaunti. Bispika, tukubaliane na vile ambavyo seneta ambaye ni wa Migori Eddie Oketch, nimeangalia nikaona walikuwa na nia njema na wakasema bilioni 2, lakini bilioni 2 ni kidogo zaidi, Bispika, na majukumu ni mengi. Kwa hivyo nataka kukubaliana na Senator Eddie vile ambavyo yeye anasema ya kwamba angalau tuongeze kwa bilioni 1, tuseme hizi kaunti ambazo ni kaunti ambazo zinasemekana ni ndogo ziongezewe shilingi bilioni 3, ndio tuweze kuwa na mapatano, Bispika. Na tukifanya hivyo itakuwa ni jambo ambalo litasaidia gatuzi zetu kwa mambo ya ukulima, kwa mambo ya afya, kwa mambo ya barabara na masomo, hasa kwa shule za chekechea. Bispika, Laikipia ikiwa na shida kwa sababu iko katika Jamhuri ya Kenya kwa ukosefu wa pesa, utapata vile vile kaunti ya Nyamira itakuwa na shida, kaunti ya Homa Bay itakuwa na shida, kaunti ya Taita Taveta itakuwa na shida, kwa sababu sisi tumeunganika na sisi ni kitu kimoja. Kwa hivyo ninapoongea hapa ni vizuri, Bispika, hii nia njema tutembee tukiwa pamoja na tukubaliane ndiposa tuweze kupata hizi hela. Lakini tusikomee hapa, Bispika, kwa kusema ya kwamba baada ya sisi kupata hizi hela zikifika katika gatuzi zetu unapata ya kwamba, Bispika, hizi pesa zinaenda zinafujwa, unapata kuna ufisadi, unapata kaunti kama ya Nyamira, Bispika, kuna vyumba viwili vya kufanya majadiliano katika gatuzi ya Nyamira. Kuna wengine wanafanya katika sebule na kuna ile ambayo imeketi katika mahali panapofaa. Hiyo ni ufujaji wa hela, Bispika. Kwa hivyo itakuwa ni vigumu kwa seneta wa Nyamira Okongo Omugeni kukaa hapa na kutetea hela ziweze kuongezeka Nyamira, lakini zikifika Nyamira tayari zimefujwa, kwa sababu inawezaje kuwa na mabunge mawili katika kaunti ya Nyamira na ilhali katiba imesema vizuri ya kwamba kutakuwa na bunge moja Nyamira. Kwa hivyo haya mambo ni mpaka yaangaliwe na msihi Okongo Omugeni, kwa sababu ameleta mswada huu akiwa na nia njema ya kusaidia Nyamira, lakini hela zikifika Nyamira zinatumiwa vibaya. Kwa hivyo Okongo Omugeni, baada ya sisi kupitisha mswada huu, sisi tutalivalia njuga mambo ya ufisadi, mambo ya ufujaji wa hela ambazo ni za umma. Bispika, vile vile tukisema kwamba hela zifuate majukumu. Ukiangalia kama afya, Speaker, hela nyingi zaidi ya 70% zinabaki katika serikali ya kitaifa. Na ukiangalia katika serikali ya kitaifa, mambo ambayo wanashughulikia sana ni policy, na vile vile hospitali za kitaifa ni chache, ni 5. Mfano, kuna Mathare Mental Hospital, kuna Moi Teaching and Referral, kuna Spinal Injury, kuna Kenyatta. Hizo tu ndio hospitali ambazo zimebaki katika serikali ya kitaifa. Kwa hivyo tukisema ya kwamba majukumu yafuatwe na hela, tunamaanisha yale majukumu tayari yamepelekwa katika gatuzi zetu. Speaker, kwa hivyo kwangu mimi, ikiwa tunaweza kukubaliana na tukubaliane halahala ndio kaunti zetu, kwa sababu wakati huu hela haziendi katika kaunti zetu. Tukikubaliana tutaweza kupeleka hela katika gatuzi zetu, kwa sababu Mswahili anasema ngoja ngoja huumiza matumbo. Speaker, sasa tukiangalia, ningeomba kamati ambayo inaongozwa na mwenyekiti wa fedha Roba, ningependa kumsihi, lakini hela hizi ambazo tunagawana zikipita kiwango cha shilingi bilioni 415, tuweze kuongeza hela ambazo zinaenda katika hizi gatuzi ambazo zinasemekana ni ndogo, tuweze kupewa bilioni 4.6. Speaker, kwa hivyo ninasema nini? Ninasema ya kwamba wale seneta watakaoenda katika kutuwakilisha katika ile kamati ya kuleta uwiano, tupeleke maseneta ambao wataweza kukaa ngumu, na ningeomba seneta wa Mandera Roba, kwa sababu yeye amekuwa akishabikia hayo mambo na ana uwezo, ujuzi na amebombea, awe mmoja pale ndio aweze kuenda kuleta kuweza kupeleka ujuzi pale, na aweze kuwaambia kinaga ubaga kisa na maana ya sisi katika seneti kutaka hela nyingi, kwa sababu kaunti zote za Jamhuri ya Kenya, Speaker, zinahitaji hela, na hasa hizi kaunti ambazo ni ndogo kama Laikipia, kama Nyamira, kama Elgeyo Marakwet, kama Taita Taveta, kama Kirinyaga, kama Embu. Hizi kaunti, Speaker, zinahitaji majukumu, kwa sababu zinahitaji hela ndio ziweze kujikimu na majukumu waliopewa waweze kuyafanya, Speaker. Kwa hivyo, Speaker, siku ya leo mimi nataka kuunga mkono mswada huu. Speaker, nimeketi nikasikia kwamba ati kuna kaunti ambazo zinaokota ushuru mwingi, kwa hivyo hapati kupewa hela. Mfano Laikipia, kwa sababu sisi tunaokota ushuru mwingi, hatupaswi kupewa hela zaidi. Bwana Speaker, huwezi ukamkata mtu mkono kwa kazi aliyoifanya nzuri. Sisi tunafanya kazi nzuri ya kuweza kuokota ushuru mwingi. Kwa hivyo katika asilimia fulani inapaswa iongezwe kwa wale ambao majukumu yao kama ni kuokota ushuru, tunafanya hivyo kwa ustadi, Speaker. Lakini si kutukemea na kutukejeli kwa sababu sisi tumeweza kuokota ushuru mwingi, alafu ukifika katika seneti unapata katika seneti hii ndio inatumia nguvu zake. Kwa hivyo nakurai mwenyekiti wa kamati, mkirudi katika kamati, kuangaliwe asilimia iongezwe kwa wale ambao wanafanya kazi kwa ustadi, lakini si kuzawadi umaskini, kusema ya kwamba wale ni maskini na wamekuwa katika gatuzi hizi, ati wale asilimia yao kubwa ni umaskini, ati wapewe hela nyingi kwa sababu wale ni maskini, ilhali wamekuwa katika gatuzi kwa miaka hiyo zaidi ya 12. Kwa hivyo, Speaker, tunapaswa kuwa tuwatunze, kuwapa heko wale wanaofanya kazi ambayo wanapaswa kufanya. Speaker, nikimalizia nasema nataka kuunga mkono. Speaker,
Order, Senator Halwale. Your conversation is so loud.
Speaker, ni wazi tunapofanya hii kazi, hawa magavana wakiitwa katika seneti ndio waweze kuulizwa maswali, na haulizwi maswali kuhusu mashamba yao, haulizwi maswali kuhusu boma zao, wanaulizwa maswali kuhusu hela ambazo sisi wenyewe kama seneti tulijadili, tukatetea ndio waweze kuongezewa na kupelekewa katika kaunti zao. Wakiitwa wanapaswa kuja na waweze kujibu maswali, na hiyo ndio jukumu yetu kikatiba, kuuliza maswali tuweze kujibiwa, ndio tuweze kuwa sisi ndio macho ya wananchi waliotuchagua katika gatuzi zetu. Maseneta wengine wakiitwa wanaona, magavana wengine wakiitwa wanaona wao ni kama miungu wa gatuzi walizotoka. Wanapaswa kuwajibika, Bi Spika, na kujibu maswali yale ambao wameulizwa katika seneti hii. Bi Spika, itakuwa ni kinaya kwetu sisi kuja hapa kuteta na kusema pesa inapaswa kuongeza, lakini baada ya wao kupata zile hela inakuwa sasa hawezi kuja, wakiitwa ndio waweze kuwajibika katika seneti hii. Kwa hivyo Bi Spika, siku ya leo, kwa sababu hili ndilo jukumu kwetu kubwa sana kama seneti, kulinda na kutetea gatuzi zetu. Lakini ikiwa kazi yetu itakuwa tu ni kutetea gatuzi zetu, lakini baada ya wao kupata zile hela, basi inakuwa ni vigumu tena sana wao kuja hapa kwetu. Lakini Bi Spika, nataka kusema ya kwamba kwa sababu nia imeonekana njema, hii nia njema ni ya kwamba na nataka kupongeza mwenyekiti na kamati yake. Wamesema ya kwamba hawataki kaunti yoyote ibaki nyuma. Sisi sote tunapaswa kutembea pamoja, na kwa sababu ya huo upendo na hiyo nia njema tunawapongeza. Na sasa marekebisho yaliyoletwa na Senator Okongo Omugeni, ninaomba kamati, naomba bunge hili, naomba na wasihi, tafadhali tupigie kura hayo marekebisho, ndio hizi kaunti ambazo zinapata hela chache ziweze kupata hela ambazo zinaweza kukimu zile kaunti. Lakini nimwambie Senator wa Embu, nimwambie Senator wa Kirinyaga, nimwambie Senator wa Elgeyo Marakwet, nimwambie Senator wa Tana River, na nimwambie Senator wa Nyamira, hizi hela tunazozitetea hapa zikiongezwa, magavana ambao hizo kaunti hela zinaenda wanapaswa kuwajibika. Hizo hela hazitumiwe kiholela. Hizo hela zitumiwe kwa kazi ambayo inafaa, kazi ya kuimarisha maisha ya wananchi wa gatuzi hizo. Hizo pesa hatuwapatii ndio waweze kujitajirisha wenyewe, ama pesa yao ya mfuko ndio mtu anatembea katika ile gatuzi. Mfano Laikipia, governor wa Laikipia anatembea Rumuruti, anatembea Ormoran, anatembea Doldor, huku akipeana pesa kiholela. Hizi pesa ni za maendeleo, hizi pesa ni za kuimarisha uchumi, hizi hela ni za kuimarisha uchumi katika gatuzi ambako hizo kaunti tunazipeleka hizo pesa. Hatutakubali Okongo Omugeni senior council, hatutakubali Eddie Oketch, kwa sababu mimi nikubaliana na vile ulivyosema, vile ambavyo umesema bilioni 3. Lakini hizi hela zikitumiwa vibaya, tutakataa leo, tutakataa kesho, mtondogo na hata milele. Kwa hivyo nikimalizia, Bi Spika, niseme naunga mkono marekebisho yaliyoletwa na Senator Okongo Omugeni, na vile vile yale mambo ambayo Senator Eddie, kwa sababu yeye ni mwanakamati wa fedha, ule mwelekeo na ujuzi. Mimi sikudhania Eddie ana ule ujuzi wa hela vile alivyoelekeza hayo maneno hapa. Mimi nataka kusema ule ujuzi ambao amesema hapa, sijui kama Okongo Omugeni alimsikia, kwa sababu amesema badala ya bilioni 4 na si 2, akasema akaja akasimama katikati. Nikaona werendi alionao. Na kwanza pole kwa sababu kumpoteza yule kijana barubaru ambaye ameuawa na hawa wakora ambao wanasema ni maafisa wa polisi, lakini wao ni wakora ambao wamemuua kijana huyo. Nasema pole, na tutasimama wima kutetea haki katika Jamhuri ya Kenya. Lakini Tena nirudie kwa sababu hapa ndipo nina uchungu. Hela hizi tunazopeleka katika gatuzi zetu, Bi Speaker, hizi hela tutazilinda kwa hali na mali, kwa uhai wetu na damu yetu. Kwa sababu ni uchungu, Bi Speaker, tunakaa hapa tunaongea kuhusu hela, hatimaye hizi hela zikienda katika gatuzi zetu zinaingia kwa mifuko ya watu. Okongo Omogeni, ningekuomba Okongo Omogeni, yes, I want to be informed.
Proceed.
Madam Speaker, the good lady said of Laikipia has spoken very passionately and repeatedly. When somebody repeats something, it means that it is important to him. He has spoken and repeated the issue around wastage of resources in the counties. I wanted to inform him that in the committees that we sit in, the watchdog committee, which I don't know whether he sits in one, we always have our partners come to those committees, and one of those partners is EACC. And the EACC should be in the forefront of fighting for mismanagement for our resources in the counties. And he should speak very strongly to the EACC, because we have never seen EACC rolling any head of governors, and we have seen Senate that does a very good job.
What is the point of information?
That in our
that
committees,
he should use EACC?
Yes, and
okay.
And they're in our committees as partners whenever we are doing watchdog committees.
Okay.
Asante. Hayo ni maarifa mazuri. Nisema tena, hayo ni maarifa mazuri ameniarifu kuhusu taasisi hii ambayo inapaswa kuchangamkia mambo ya ufisadi. Kwa sababu ufisadi, Bi Speaker, ndio kiegezo kikubwa ambacho kinafanya mambo yasitendeke. Na kwa sababu si yuko katika kamati yoyote ambayo umetaja, na kuna hii taasisi ambayo inapaswa kushughulikia hayo mambo, na sema ya kwamba hii taasisi inapaswa, Bi Speaker, kuwajibika kabisa, ndio Kenya iende mbele. Na Kenya itaenda mbele namna gani? Ikiwa gatuzi zetu zitasonga mbele. Bi Speaker, nikimalizia naunga mkono na haya marekebisho. Nilitaka Okongo Omogeni nimueleze, angesema ya kwamba hizi hela zimeongezwa ziweze kusemekana ni za kazi gani, ni za kutengeneza barabara, za kutengeneza zahanati, ndio zisiende tu kiholela, zikifika katika gatuzi zikuwe hazina kazi. Ni tuziweke ziwe na sababu fulani zinaenda, ziwe ni kutengeneza mabawa ya maji, ni za kutengeneza shule za chekechea, ama ni za kutengeneza barabara. Na kiwa ni barabara kiasi gani, na barabara ni aina gani, ndio tuweze kujua. Bi Speaker, naunga mkono na nashukuru kwa kunipa fursa hii.
Senator Maruma.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to support the amendment by Senator Okongo Omogeni, Senator Nyamira, on the revenue or fourth basis of sharing revenue. Madam Speaker, I must say that we've come from very far. Previously, Madam Speaker, in the 80s, we had a one-party state, and we had resources being shared centrally. In 1965, Madam Speaker, there was the sessional paper number 1 that stated that we have gotten independence. How do we share our resources to ensure that we get development and have fast, speedy economic growth? Madam Speaker, according to sessional paper number 1, resources were sent to areas with high potential, Madam Speaker, areas with rainfall and fertile soils. There were areas, Madam Speaker, that were left behind in terms of development, and these areas mainly were in the lower eastern coastal region and the northern frontier district, Madam Speaker, the northeastern region. In 2003, Madam Speaker, we saw the passage of national government CDF, where we saw some semblance of redistribution of resources through the CDF, where we had money going to constituencies, although largely, Madam Speaker, the members of National Assembly have misused that fund, and they have become like implementers, and thanks to the courts of law, which have pronounced themselves that this money really should not be used or applied by the members of the National Assembly, because then they are not implementers of projects and programs, Madam Speaker, and that is only the executive that is supposed to implement projects. Madam Speaker, the clamor for a new constitution started after the repeal of Section 2A in 1992, and in 2005, Madam Speaker, there was an attempt to change the constitution, but why that constitution did not go through was because there was no devolution, and some of us who are coming from the coastal region of Kenya, we wanted, in fact, majimbo or regionalism, but the people who are making the constitution felt that would be balkanizing our country into 8 former provinces, and so that constitution did not see the light of the day. And we saw the advent of movements like the Orange Democratic Movement, and in 2010, Madam Speaker, we gave ourselves a new constitution that saw, to a great extent, redistribution of resources, Madam Speaker, where we had money coming from the center, that is Nairobi, to the counties, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I must say that the counties were too small and they are largely not viable. In 2020, Madam Speaker, some of us who felt that our counties are too small and unviable really supported the Building Bridges initiative, which one of the suggestions was that we reduce the counties to 14. That clause did not see the light of the day, and it was removed at the initial stages of BBI. And later on, we said let's remain with the 47, but then let's increase the money to the counties to at least at 35%. The rest, Madam Speaker, is history, because then BBI itself did not go through because of the courts declared it being unconstitutional, Madam Speaker. The best thing, Madam Speaker, that we gave ourselves as Kenyans in the 2010 Constitution was devolution. Some of our counties are very small, Madam Speaker. In Taita Taveta, we have only 384 people, and the registered voters around 160,000, whereas such a number in the central, in some constituencies, central like Ruiru, Madam Speaker, they have over 200,000 voters per constituency. That in our county is just the whole county. So, Madam Speaker, to get resources, we are being asked, so how many votes are you bringing on the table so that we can give you development? And the votes really were really few. So, Madam Speaker, in the advent of devolution, we thought that we have a panacea to the problems that were existing in our county. But then, by and by, as we look at how devolution is working, we feel that the money that is going to the very small counties that have been identified as Taita Taveta, Isiolo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nyamira, Lamu, Laikipia, Vihiga, Kirinyaga, and Embu, that these counties are too small and unviable, and they get less than 6 billion, Madam Speaker. That money largely goes to paying salaries and doing operations, and very little money, Madam Speaker, is left to do development. Madam Speaker, we are now again discussing the fourth basis for sharing revenue, something that we did, Madam Speaker, in 2020, and I can assure you, Madam Speaker, then it was extremely divisive. As other speakers have said, it took months to pass that third basis for sharing revenue, Madam Speaker. In fact, it took the intervention of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. I remember then I went to State House with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga with the leadership of the Senate. I was representing Team Kenya because then we were in the mood of handshake then, and the Right Honorable implored upon the President then, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, to add some money to counties so that no county can lose money. I remember in 2020, in the new revenue sharing formula, Taita Taveta was going to lose 400 million. Some counties were going to gain. The highest gainer was Nandi, which was going to gain 1.4 billion. Because then, Madam Speaker, we were sharing the same cake as that we shared in 2019-2020, 316.5 billion. Now in 2020-2021, we were called upon to share the same cake, but with a new basis, with a new formula. So definitely, if you're sharing the same cake with a new formula, some counties would lose and some counties would gain. So the counties that were losing were a total of 19 counties, and Taita Taveta was one of them. But as we were negotiating with others, I remember imploring upon the senator, the late senator for Machakos. His county was gaining, but we asked him, if you are coming from the lower eastern region and Makueni and Kitui is losing, why can't you support them? These are your cousins. Support them so that they don't lose money. And Senator Kabaka, may God rest his soul, internal peace, accepted to join the fray. We also spoke to Senator Malala of Kakamega, because then his county was gaining, but then Vihiga was losing, and we requested him to join the fray because then the cousins are also losing. And I like also the magnanimity of Senator for Nairobi, then Senator Sakaja, and Senator Murkomen, who agreed that much as their counties were gaining money in the new basis for sharing revenue, but we are still one Senate of Kenya, whose sole role is to defend counties and their governments. And so they decided to support us. We started as 19 people, and at the end we were 27. But then in the wisdom of the Honorable Raila Odinga, he said, we would divide this Senate and we would divide this country across the middle. We'll balkanize it to people who deserve to have more money and some to have less money. So when he talked to the president then, the president agreed to add the shareable revenue, or to agree to have the DORA pass the shareable revenue from 316 billion to counties to 370 billion, an increment of 53.5 billion, Madam Speaker. And I remember my county then was supposed to lose 400 million, but then it gained 600 million, and it got a leap from 4.2 billion to 4.8 billion. That was quite a leap. Madam Speaker, an increment of Indora of 50 billion was the largest that I've ever seen in Kenya. Madam Speaker, I want to say that I want to thank the Committee of Finance and Budget, led by Honorable Roba, for ensuring that the new revenue sharing formula, or the fourth basis for sharing revenue, is not going to divide us. Because previously, we could not even sleep. We could have people making calls from State House and from all over Kenya, because then they wanted us to vote. I remember my governor calling me, telling me that, don't worry, you'll not lose money this year, you lose it next year, and told him, rubbish. How can you agree we lose 400 million, yet when you lose 400 million, we are losing it for 5 years. That is 2 billion. So there's nothing like that. But I'm happy that the Committee of Finance and Budget has agreed to hold counties harmless by making sure that we share 387.5 billion to all the counties using the third basis of sharing revenue, and then the additional amount which will be determined by DORA be shared using the new basis. Madam Speaker, even when we use the new basis to share revenue, Taita Taveta will only get a leap from 5.0 billion to 5.25 billion, which is quite some little money. Through negotiation, through discussions, through seducing the members of the Finance Committee,
guys, order. Let's listen.
They agreed to put 2 billion. That then would ensure that the small counties, the 11 counties in question, get at least some little money on top, and that, Madam Speaker, is taking Taita Taveta at 5.3 billion. Still, that is very little, because our wage bill is at 56%, Madam Speaker. Even if we add that around 250 million, still would be much below what we require to do development. Development expenditure, Madam Speaker, what is in the budget for development for Taita Taveta is 1 billion. So even if you add the 300 million, it would just be 1.3 billion. Madam Speaker, we would want to push this money to go to 6 billion. That was our view. But even as we fight for 6 billion for the small counties, I'm agreeable to the discussants and the contributors who have contributed to this motion that if we add on top of the 2 billion, 2.6 billion to make it 4.6 billion, then Taita Taveta County will get 400 million on top, and that would take us to 5.7 billion, still a far cry from 6 billion, but it is much better. So, Madam Speaker, I would like to thank Senator Okongo Omogeni for bringing this motion over to amend so that you add 2.6 billion more, because at the counties there are so many things that we want to do as governments. For example, Madam Speaker, counties need to do budgets that are predictable. Right now, if we have some counties losing money, then, Madam Speaker, will not achieve the objectives of our budgets. Most counties have CBAs for doctors that are waiting for this basis to pass, for the new budget to pass, for the new DORA to pass, so that the CBAs can be honored, and so that we stop our medics from going on strike and tampering with service delivery in the counties, Madam Speaker. All the county workers, Madam Speaker, require a pay rise, given that our government has been adding taxes over one tax over another one. Right now they have SHA, they have NSSF that has been enhanced. They have, Madam Speaker, the new housing levy, which, Madam Speaker, largely is being used, I would say, unconstitutionally, because there was no public participation that the housing levy would be used to fix Nairobi River. There was no public participation that the housing levy would be used to build the markets. There was no public participation to the effect that the housing levy would be used to build roads, as has been said by none other than the head of state, Madam Speaker. So these people require to have enhanced salaries, so that for those, because of the taxes, because of the new taxes, have had their salaries go to below a third, which is constitutional, and they are causing their employers pecuniary embarrassment, and they are infringing on the laws of employment, Madam Speaker. They require a salary increment. They will only get a salary increment if, Madam Speaker, we get that paltry 4.6 billion for the small counties, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if we get in DORA 387.7 billion, Madam Speaker, we're getting 5.066 billion. With the new basis and 4 or 5 billion, as has been passed by the National Assembly, we are getting 5.3 billion. But if we fight, Madam Speaker, to get 465 billion, then Taita Taveta County would go to 6.149 billion. So we must continue fighting, Madam Speaker, so that in DORA we pass 465 billion. That has been suggested by the Senate, Madam Speaker. I have said already that our wage bill is at 54% as Taita Taveta County, and 54% and 11% for the County Assembly. We are remaining with very slim resources to do development, Madam Speaker. Talking about OSR, which is one area that we can leverage on so that we can get some development, our OSR has been hampered by the national government refusing to disburse royalties to Taita Taveta. There's a lot of money that has been collected in terms of royalties, Madam Speaker, but has not been disbursed to our county, and so our own source revenue is still below par. Madam Speaker, we're also clamoring for a share of the Savo National Park. None other than the President had suggested or had decreed that we get 50-50 revenue sharing with KWS. But Madam Speaker, that is not forthcoming. We have followed it up through a motion in this Senate. I have followed it up through a statement in this Senate, Madam Speaker, but nobody seems to be helping us implement the executive edict by the President to ensure that we get 50-50 revenue sharing from KWS, Madam Speaker. So I would like to say that our counties are small. Corruption notwithstanding, even with the small money, we are not able to do much. And I would like to say this, that the members of National Assembly, and I don't know what's wrong with them, because the money coming or being devolved to the counties is going to people in their constituencies. Why are they so hell-bent in passing very little money to go to the counties? And after all, some of them even want to be governors. We have had many MPs who have become governors. The MP for Darakanidhi, the MP for Vihiga has been a member of parliament. Why is this problem? What is the problem? They pass very little money to go to the counties, and when they go to become governors again, they find very little money. They cannot do much. So, Madam Speaker, let us fight. Finally, let us fight to ensure that we get 465 billion as shareable revenue to our counties. And over and above, I implore fellow senators to ensure that we get the 2.6 billion. But as Senator Okech is suggesting, even if you are to give and take, some little amount would not be so averse to it. But, Madam Speaker, I want to implore all the senators to support this amendment brought up by Senator Nyamira, Senior Counsel Okongo Omogeni, so that our counties really can get development. Madam Speaker, I would like to submit and support that amendment. Thank you.
Senator Murango.
Asante sana mstahiki Speaker kwa kunipa nafasi. Na kwanza ningetaka kushukuru kamati ya fedha kiongozwa na mwenyekiti ambaye ni Ali Romba, Senator Ali Romba Mandera. Kwanza kwa sababu ya kuonyesha welendi na tajriba kuongoza ile kamati. Kwa sababu ule mfumo ambao aliotuletea umefanya kuwe na amani katika mbunge hili, na sana sana hata kama kuna mageuzi kidogo itafanyiwa. Amekuwa mwenyekiti ambao ameonyesha kwamba ni kiongozi na asiyejipenda. Kwa hivyo nataka nishukuru kwa hiyo. Pia mstahiki mwenyekiti, ningetaka pia na mstahiki Speaker, nadhani kabla ya kiongozi wa wengi na Senator Medho wakuja kulikuwa na amani kiasi katika bunge hili. Sasa unajua mtiririko wangu wa mawazo unapotea kwa sababu ya ngumzo inayoendelea. Hata Speaker amepotea. Okay. Asante sana mstahiki Speaker. Asante sana.
Apologies. Senator Majority Leader, naomba mumsikilize mwenzenu.
Asante sana mstahiki Speaker. Mstahiki Speaker, nilikuwa nimesema ya kwamba kazi iliyofanywa hapo mwanzo na mwenyekiti ya kamati ya fedha ilionyesha welendi, ilionyesha tajriba, kwa sababu ndio imekuwa chanzo ya mageuzi kidogo ambayo utafanya katika mswada huu. Na vizuri ni kwamba tulipokaa chini aliweza kutusikiliza wale tulikuwa na maoni kinzani tofauti kidogo. Na afadhali nikiwa na mawazo ya kujinyonga ukuja unisikize venye nasema kuliko kuhudhuria matanga yangu. Ametufanya hivi kama wale ambao wanatoka katika zile kaunti ndogo ndogo, na katika hekima ya wakili Okongo Omogeni, Senator wa Kisii Nyamira, amekuja na mageuzi kambambe ambayo itahakikisha kwamba tunamalizana na mfumo mpya bila kuwa na taswishi ama kelele zozote, bila pia kubadilisha ule mfumo ambao kamati ya fedha iliongozwa na Senator Romba imeleta. Mstahiki Speaker, sababu kubwa ambayo tulikuwa tunaomba hii mageuzi ni kwamba zile vigezo ambazo zilitumika katika ugavi wa fedha mwaka huu, kwamba nyingi sana zilikuwa hizi kaunti ndogo ndogo zilikuwa hasingeweza kufaidika kwa kiwango kubwa sana. Kama vile ukubwa, kaunti ndogo si kubwa. Wingi wa watu, kaunti ndogo of course itakuwa haina watu wengi. Itakuwa na uzito wa watu katika sehemu fulani, lakini haitakuwa na watu wengi. Katika kiwango cha ufukara pia wengi kama Kirinyaga hatukuwepo. Kwa hivyo baada ya kusikia